Bro, I hope I never have to meet the dude that owns this Kia, because I knew a couple badasses in my day, mostly my cousin Terry, but locally hated, bro. Literally the king of darkness and misery. So I hope that he does not come out of the Cracker Barrel before I can skedaddle.
Good morning, sweet world, and welcome to the No Dunks podcast on the Athletic Network. It's Wednesday, December 11th, 2024. I'm Jay Skeets here in the Classic Factory, and alongside me, as always, Tass Mellis.
Fans of meaningful December basketball games, this is for you.
Next to him, it's the bearded one, my top shot hot boy, Trey Kirby.
Hey yo.
And over yonder, making the magic happen, super producer JD.
Hello.
There he is. Here we are. On today's pod, we're going to get into the up-down report to talk some Jimmy Butler trade rumors. Oh, a juicy Shams inside pass. And we'll have a little mini preview for tonight's two quarterfinal games. But before we look forward, we look back. And let's start with the Bucks beating the Magic 114-109. I was wrong. I thought it might be a blowout. It was a really close game. And Milwaukee returns to the NBA Cup semifinals. They are headed back to Vegas. Tass, we had this on playback. What jumped out to you? What were your main takeaways from Milwaukee advancing over Orlando?
Well, the Orlando Magic staying in this game without their top two scorers. Their all-star and their soon-to-be all-star Banchero and Franz Wagner. And then Jalen Suggs goes down with a thumb injury in this game. And it sure looks like, my goodness, are they going to be able to keep up? But their defense was so good. Suggs comes back, and they hang in till the last few possessions when some of that offense wasn't all that great, wasn't all that pretty, especially without their top two guys. But to be there, and you zoom out, you look at this Orlando Magic team, it's hard not to think, man, this team is going to be extremely difficult to beat in the Eastern Conference playoffs. I can't wait to see them. Let's hope they're healthy against all these teams. So I think this was, yes, moral victories. You can't make a lot out of them. And I know when I say moral victory means something, people say, you're an idiot. But I do think this Orlando Magic team and who they are trying to become, it's exactly what they're trying to become. Now, it would have been nice, the guy that they paid a lot of money to this offseason, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, came in and chipped in some points, especially with all these guys injured that I mentioned. But, you know, look down the list and you see like Anthony Black, this kid in his second year, helping out and making good plays. It feels like they got enough depth.
Yeah, the Magic pushed the Bucks all game there, Trey. Suggs was awesome. Career high 32. He eventually had a chance to tie the game at the end, came up short.
Weird possession.
A little weird, but decent look, all things considered. 12 of 26, though, from Suggs. I mean, 3 for 11 from deep, 5 of 6 at the line, but 9 boards. That matched his career high. 4 steals. He had a block in 38 minutes. Yeah, despite returning from the jam thumb. Like, he gave it his all. Like, it was like...
Gave it his all.
It was pretty impressive that they were in this game. And there is no doubt Orlando has an identity. They have the culture set there from Coach Mosley down to the rest of this roster despite missing their guys, but just couldn't get over the hump there.
Couldn't get over the hump. This is the exact Magic performance I said they needed to stay in the game.
Yeah.
They won the turnover battle 16-14. They won the offensive rebounding battle 15-5. They took 16 more shots than Milwaukee did. Jalen Suggs went off 18 in the fourth quarter. His handle is so much better. He can actually get places on the court, completely shaking your Derry Birds and your Derry Trents out there. They got 2 3-point looks, pretty good looks to tie or take the lead in the last 15 seconds of this game. Just couldn't get it to drop. On the flip side, this is why the Bucks traded for Damian Lillard. It happened last year. We saw some good Dame time moments, but he scored 11 of the Bucks' last 13 points in the last 2 minutes of this game. Hit a couple of free throws to put him up 1. Hit the big 3 from the left wing to tie the game. Had the dunk from half court. Beats Anthony Black off the dribble half court. Goga Batadze. Where do you go, Just ran away. I don't know what was going on there, but a big dunk by Dame. Then he obviously had the free throws to ice the game. Giannis carried the team through the first 45 minutes. Dame carried him home. That was the point of the trade.
Yeah, over his last 8 games, Lillard is averaging better than 27 points per game, 7 assists with amazing shooting splits. 49 from the floor, 45 from deep. He almost never misses a free throw, so he's 93 at the line over those last 8 games. But that 45% from 3 task. I mean, that's the key to everything here. And especially the clutch shots down the stretch when they needed them. That's like, you throw out those first 5 games of the season for Dame, he's been basically a 40% three-point shooter for the Bucks here on a lot of attempts. And it just opens up so much more for this team. And now they got Chris Middleton back. I know he couldn't hit a shot last night, but again, in
nice passing.
the playmaking role, eventually Chris Middleton will start hitting shots, and this makes the Bucks team even more scary.
Yeah, and their chemistry between Dame and Giannis has definitely grown, but at the same time, you can just say, Dame time. I mean, really, you have Suggs guarding you, or KCP, whoever, and really it's just dribble, 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 let it rip. And if the shots are falling, like the percentage is definitely higher, more respectable for Dame, that bodes obviously well for that team where you saw the other guy, Giannis, like, treating this like it was a freaking finals game. It felt like the way he was blocking shots out there. Most blocks he's had this season in a single game. Most blocks he's had in a while. Most blocks the Milwaukee Bucks have had from one player in 8 months since last season. I mean, he was getting after it. It was great to see Giannis really give it. Really want to get to Las Vegas for one more time. But to see 37 points from that guy, 4 blocks. Although some box scores say 5, he was just. It felt like Giannis in the finals or whenever. I mean, he was really giving it. It felt like he's tried to put this team on his back after that lousy 2-10 start. This guy, when he's trying that way, how could you not try around him?
And for the second consecutive game, Bobby Portis giving them something off the bench. He started this season terribly slow. He was my 6th man of the year pick, making me look like a fool. But over the last 2, he's turned it on, Trey. On Sunday, he scored 23 points on 9 of 10 shooting against the Nets. He was really good in that game. Had 3 blocks, I believe, as well. And then last night, 22 points on 9 of 11 shooting and added 10 boards. So giving them something, again, from their bench. Not that the Magic guys weren't contributing as well. Mo Wagner was not missing a shot for a while. Obviously, Anthony Black, as you talked about, has
he
some
didn't
really
good
good
shot
moments.
the whole game, Mo.
Yeah,
but
it was funny to watch Mo and Bobby going together. It's like you can't guard either of them. You can't guard each other. So who's going to score the most? And it was Bobby, and I guess Bobby shooting the 3 pretty well, 2 for 3. Is probably part of the reason that Goga Bitadze left Dame Lillard for an easy dunk, but I mean, that was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like, Anthony Black can't get beat off the dribble at half court, and Goga Bitadze can't run away from the blade when they're trying to get a dunk. That was silly, but
Wendell Carter was also
he was
not
in
looking.
no man's land.
Yeah, he was
they didn't know, and it was
out.
It was off a free throw, a missed free throw. Black missed the free throw, but they had enough chance to set up. That was the biggest botch of the game, obviously. And it's like, oh. What a killer momentum-wise as well. But Bobby's been good, and I think it's also good that Pat Connaughton is playing less and less for this team. He was kind of a crutch for Doc Rivers early on, and he was probably the biggest culprit of the lack of athleticism out there. Bobby doesn't have much athleticism, but at least he's a big dude, and you can kind of deal with it if he's the only guy out there who can't run. But I thought pretty solid performance from Bobby. He was there to close for the Bucks as well. So good stuff from him.
Yes, and it looks nice for the Milwaukee Bucks. They're starting to use their athleticism, as you said. Like Andre Jackson has entered the starting lineup. He only plays 8 minutes because
he doesn't like to shoot.
Yeah, he cannot shoot. That's not his thing whatsoever. So they want to spread the floor around Giannis. That's what they need to do. So Mr. Derry Bird gets out there. And Chris, who can't shoot yet, but yes, lots of passes. So they look like a more complete team, like what they're supposed to be. And I don't think we can say enough for Jalen Suggs, who's been thrust into this number 1 guy role now for the next month or so, just like Franz was thrusted into the number 1 role and Paolo Banchero went out. But to have a 23-point second half after a 22-point second half against the Phoenix Suns the game before, I mean, this guy is for real, and he plays defense so hard every single possession. You could see sometimes when the possession offensively goes through him, he shoots the ball right away. He's guarding the team's best offensive player, which was a little surprising to me. I thought that was KCP's job, but he gets right into it. I'm just impressed with the Magic.
The Magic appeared to potentially force a jump ball with like 10 seconds to go, only for it to be called a foul. And then it was reviewed by the officials. And it took a while because we had good old Scott Foster leading the review. And then there was not a foul called on Goga. But Bobby Portis, they said, was maintaining possession, so it's Bucks ball instead of the jump ball. I mean, it was a huge review in the end. Yes. Otherwise, it's a jump ball, and maybe Orlando gets it. Instead, it was Milwaukee getting the ball and then got to play the free throw game a little bit more. But what do you think about that? What did
I could ruminate for hours. It felt like everything was taking so long.
Oh God.
The end of the game was tough. It was tough.
It's the number one biggest problem with the NBA right now. It's the end of games of like 2 minute of clock time take, no exaggeration here, sometimes 20 to 25 minutes.
Wob had it at 20 minutes, 11 seconds last night.
And this is by far from the first game.
Minutes.
The last 2 minutes. That's a horrible sports product. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, fix
it.
That's what Adam Silver said it years ago, that the last few minutes can take half an hour. I'm probably misquoting him, but it was something to that effect, and it hasn't changed.
So we need to get rid of timeouts, as many timeouts as they're allowed at the end there. I mean, we don't need this many when they save them.
Time ins.
Obviously, reviews should be like literally timed themselves. If you can't come to the decision, then whatever, the call stands. That 20 minutes, like you jumped on playback, Trey, for like what felt like the final, like, I don't know, was it 30 seconds of the game? And you ended up hanging around for like 15 minutes.
It was a long time. It was honestly crazy. But yeah, I mean, Adam Silver did say that, and then he added a review. So it's like, I don't think they're ever going to change it. Wob made a point. This is the biggest moments of every game.
Yep.
And it keeps people glued to the TVs for longer because you're not tuning away in the last 2 minutes of a one-possession game. Not to mention, some broadcasts have like Sprite sponsoring a coach's review.
Yeah.
They're
making money on these reviews that everybody hates. So I don't think it's going anywhere. You just got to buckle in for the last 2.5 minutes. Sometimes it's literally in your driveway.
Yeah, you were. Did you stay buckled up while you were in the car on playback?
Safety first.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
But you're right. But it's a good point about Sprite sponsoring the Coach's Challenge because, as you said, it's going to take longer. So if they got to go to commercial, the commercials are the priciest right then and there.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
So
I don't know the ratings. I don't know the books. But of course, they're worth more in the second half, and then in the fourth quarter, and then in the last 6 minutes of the game, because that is when they matter the most.
Captive audience.
Yeah.
Literally captive is what it feels like.
Yes,
Release me!
exactly.
And it pushed this
in prison.
the game of the start of the second game back a few minutes.
Well, yeah, it's interesting. Good point. I mean, that started,
we
and they
missed
were
it.
both on TNT, so it's like, we picked up the game. It was like already a couple minutes in because, it took forever to end this game for no real reason.
You heard the broadcasters say, Kevin Harlan, Reggie Miller, who were broadcasting the second game, saying, we're delaying the start here. We're being totally open. We're open books. There's a reason we're delaying the start. They're just waiting for the ball to tip in front of them, but they're pushing it back.
So Milwaukee headed back to Vegas as they move on to the semifinals, and we'll find out whether they play the Hawks or the Knicks, and we'll set up that game in a little bit. But the other game last night...
My last two notes on that one,
Yeah.
I saw on Twitter last night, so I can't guarantee it, but it seems right to me the Bucks are 6-0 with Thanasis. In attendance?
In attendance, yes.
In attendance.
Yes.
He's not playing, but he wasn't around the team at the beginning of the year. They brought him in. Good luck charm. He's their Grimace.
Oh my God, you should have seen him at times during this game.
He
was going
hulking
nuts.
out, man.
And he was sitting like across from the benches courtside.
Great vibes guy.
Great vibes guy.
Ultimate vibes guy. Also, Darvin Ham and Torian Prince have improved to 12-0 in cup play.
That's right. Never lost a cup game.
Never lost a cup game.
The Lakers and now the Bucks. Yeah.
Yeah. Those coaches' mics... Thanasis could be picked up on those coaches' mics that they were broadcasting yesterday. They're shrinking the basketball camera, and you could see the little coach. And so Adetokounmpo was loud, and he was wearing the shirt with the AB logo on it. That's the Adetokounmpo Bros. It's difficult for me to say.
Even for you to say, man, it's very difficult for
Bros, because they sponsor. Their four guys have an AB line. But yeah.
What did you think of that? I guess it was a new wrinkle, to the broadcast, if you want to call it that. Like going to the coaches live during play with them mic'd up. Mm-hmm. But yeah, they did it differently in the second game. With the screen, it was, they utilized the entire screen more, I thought, better. It was more of like a split to the side for your coaches in the Thunder Mavericks game, whereas this one, it was almost like a weird picture-in-picture, but a lot of wasted space. But do we like this at all? What do you think?
I don't mind hearing them.
Yeah.
I don't really want the broadcasters who are calling the play-by-play to stop.
Yeah. That feels problem.
Weird.
That's the problem, because they're being told, okay, we're going to Jamal Mosley. And then BA and Van Gundy are like, okay, well, let's hear what he has to say.
Yeah, and then you stop.
But then the coach is like,
They're not saying anything.
Maybe isn't saying anything. Yeah.
Go.
Yeah. I thought they were better in the second broadcast to actually keep talking.
Yeah,
like as soon as they
that's
heard one sentence from the coach, they started talking, and so it made sense. It was more of a television experience.
For F1 fans, it reminds me of the broadcasts when you've got them on the call and then they'll like go to the car like mics or them talking to their team, but it's always like clunky. Yeah.
Box.
Box.
Tires are going, Dono.
Box. So anyway, let's hear from you. Were you a fan of this? It really felt like to me, Silver was like, we got to do something different for the Cup. And this is what they came up with.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, instead of talking to the coaches, between the first and second quarters, what about just straight up going to them live during the game?
You're just going to hear them.
I love it.
Yeah, it was unusual to me. Like, at times, especially in the second game, I'd be like, is Jason Kidd mic'd up? Or is he just standing close to the broadcast?
Yeah.
And picking him up, you know?
Mic'd, yeah.
It was weird.
Yeah. Mosley was the best because he's actually, I think, the most vocal of a majority of these coaches.
That's true.
I mean, Dagnall just chews gum. That's all he does. He just blows bubbles.
Yeah, he likes
and
to
looks,
squint
Kidd's
up at the
pretty
Jumbotron.
quiet, I thought.
Are they going to do it with Tibbs tonight?
Oh, that one is on TNT.
Watch the gain. Might be peaking.
Oh wait, is that one ESPN? No, is that one ESPN? Who's got ESPN tonight? I can't remember. I think it's the second game as ESPN. So yeah, maybe Tibbs will be yelling ice all night long.
Just icing all night.
Let's go to the second game. SGA scored 39 as the Thunder beat the Mavs 118-104. OKC go into the semifinals. OKC was up only by 3 at half. It was a close game, and they blew it open in the third quarter, Trey, and majority of that was SGA cooking.
Yes. This was an impressive performance by the Thunder, and to me, kind of a statement when saying, look, the Mavs came in as the hottest team in the league, but we're the best team in the Western Conference right now. Also, this year is not last year, because the Mavs tried to do things like they did against the Thunder in the playoffs last year. They were packing the paint, playing at boxes and elbows. Last season, the Thunder shot 33% from 3 in the 6-game playoff matchup they had. Last night, 20 for 50 from 3 for the Thunder. It's their best shooting game of the season. They had 7 players hit 3-pointers. 5 of them made 3 or more. Just look at Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and you can see the change. He took 23s in 6 playoff games against the Mavericks last season. Last night, he took 9.
Yeah.
And he was just getting to open shots. Like, the defense was there, and then it wasn't. He made 2 layups last night, and one of them was that crazy high off the glass one over Lively. I thought that was super impressive. They were talking about it all game. He never takes bad shots, it feels like. Always in the flow of things. He's got the pump fake so that if the shot looks like it's going to be guarded, he just pulls it back and finds somebody else. Yep. So impressive. The the Thunder have completely sped up Luka Doncic. They're just able to throw so many different looks at him. They're one of the rare teams that can blitz him. You heard JJ Redick and LeBron James before they were working together. They were working together on a podcast. They said, don't blitz Luka. The Thunder can, because they can actually recover, and they've got a guy inside in Hartenstein to actually clean things up at the glass as well. I thought they also flipped the script on the boards. 17-9 on the offensive glass for OKC last night. That was completely flipped from the playoffs last season. The Mavericks made it to the Western Conference Finals. They made it to the NBA Finals. They beat the Thunder last year, and the Thunder said, here's where we need to improve. Rebounding and shooting. They looked awesome last night. They looked awesome last night.
Yeah. And it's weird because this is the second time they played them this season. The first game, they didn't have Luka, and they won against the Thunder. But in this one, you could tell, Chase said it in his post-game interview, that it felt like a playoff game. Like they wanted revenge for losing in the second round. There's no doubt. And they start Cason Wallace as Chet is injured. Although Chet gave them their pregame speech to get him all excited, got into it.
What a tracksuit on Chet.
Chet, showing up with that.
The velour?
Yeah.
What a look.
Looked quite soft.
Very cozy.
Looked velvety, and he's standing. He still needs crutches, but he was getting there pretty close. To watch this game, to watch what is a team that can just throw so many things. As you said, at Luka, they're throwing the doubles as they pick and roll, and the ball goes into Lively in the middle, so they get in front of him, but then they got to cover the corners, and Lively's a pretty good passer to the corners, so he throws it out to the corners, but they get there so frickin' fast. They're so good at that. And I mentioned Cason Wallace starting, and Hartenstein's the 5, so they've got 4 guys who can fly around with Hartenstein. Yeah. And I wonder what happens when Chet comes back. I'm sure they're going to play with him, with Hartenstein together, but at times, because Hartenstein doesn't shoot the 3, I wonder if they're going to they can dabble. They can do so many things. They can just say, hey, Chet, you start. Hartenstein, come off the bench. But these guys are just pick their spots so perfectly. Defensively, we're just so damn good. The rebounds, which were what they got hammered at last year with the Dallas Mavericks. They crushed them by 8 in this one. And the offensive rebounds by so many guys. This team wanted it so badly. Cason Wallace, a guard, had 4. Jalen Williams had 2. Lou Dort had 3. So your wings had multiple. There's 9 there. And then Hartenstein had his own 5. I mean, from everywhere. And they keep turning teams over. They're leading the league in turning teams over. Almost 20 per game
got
this
to
season.
20 again, yeah.
And that would be the most of any team in 28 seasons to turn a team over almost 20 times. And they almost did it. I mean, they did enough at half. They beat everything by half. But it was a close enough game because Najee Marshall was awesome. Klay Thompson did enough in this game. Najee Marshall with 14 points in that first half. I mean, that was key. And then that was a key pickup. I think, I mentioned him yesterday on guys who are flourishing in other areas and other scenes, I should say. He was with New Orleans last year. Can he replace Derrick Jones Jr.? He's played so well recently for this team. That held him together for a while, but Luka just wasn't in a flow with all the doubles, and that hurt.
He was in the torture chamber, baby.
Yeah,
and then when you're not in that, then you got Caruso on you. He's amazing. Oh, then Cason Wallace gets switched on you. And like you said, just blitz, blitz, blitz. Luke scored 1 field goal in the game's first 35 minutes. I mean, he started to get it going late. I mean, it was sort of over by then. It got a little close, I guess. But they just do an incredible job because they have these elite defenders. And then, they take away all these easy lobs and they take away all these free runs to the basket. They do that as well. Just a nightmare to play against this team. Mavericks definitely missing P.J. Washington because he was a huge reason they won last playoff series. Yeah. I mean, he was always open in the corner.
He shot 50% from 3, basically.
Yeah. And so you remove him, and there's a one piece off the chessboard. So it is what it is. They've split the season series now. I hope we see. I love this rivalry. I mean, I'd love to see these teams again. Because Luka, it's only 1 game, so they're bounced, but they lost that first game in that series last year. And then Luka starts to figure things out, starts to see the floor where he can pick a spot. So there's that part of it as well. I just hope we get another 4 to 7 games of a series between these teams. But man, the fixing the problem with the rebounds with getting Hartenstein. Holy crap.
Lively destroyed them in the playoffs last year.
Destroyed them.
Gafford was catching lobs all the time last year, and they weren't getting either of those last night.
Yeah. And then, maybe we glossed over it, but SGA with the 16 points on 7 of 8 shooting in that third quarter, which did blow the game open. And that increased confidence, like you said, just with the 3-ball. You said he took 9, he hit 5 of them.
Yep.
Incredible percentage, and he's added it more and more here to his game, and that was probably the one knock on him. It's like, he's not a 3-point shooter. Well, he's starting to add that, and then he comes next to it. Impossible to stop when he has confidence in that. So the Thunder, you think they're the favorites to win the Cup here?
Oh, to win
in Vegas.
the
Cup? Yeah, just a cup. You thought I was going to ask you the title, but we'll save that.
Well, I thought you were going to say West. West, yes.
Yes.
Title, I guess they're not. But the Cup, I was 100%. They better be. They're not. Are they not?
Well, okay. They have the best record of the 6 remaining teams at, I guess, 19-5 now. But the Warriors and Rockets both beat them this season. So, they're 2 of their 5 losses. But I think they are. They might be a favorite in Vegas to actually win the Vegas Cup. What do you think? Would you have them as your favorite overall?
Not until Darvin Ham loses.
That's a good point, man. That's a good point.
They're the only team with Cup experience.
Assistant coach Darvin Ham.
That's true.
Back-to-back Vegas appearances.
That's right. They know what it's like to play on that court. They know the sight lines of that T-Mobile Arena. They know what it's like. Well, they know what it's like to lose. I guess the Bucks do, but not Darvin.
Not Darvin. Yeah.
Any other thoughts?
Yeah,
on Thunder Mavs?
The Thunder depth. I know we talk about Caruso coming off the bench, but Hartenstein in his first half minutes, he got beat. They're minus. I lost my stat here, but they're -7 in Hartenstein's 15 minutes. The guy who came off the bench for him as the backup center, Kenrich Williams, was awesome.
I know.
They're +10. So that's a guy's name you'll never hear. You'll just never hear Kenrich Williams.
Unless you're John Schumann.
Yeah, unless you're
no one loves Kenrich Williams more than John Schumann. And respect. He is good.
He's good. And he takes part in that all 5 of us flying around type of defense. So they're too good. They're too good to be able to bring Caruso and that guy that you don't know his name and Isaiah Joe. I mean, and Wiggins will play some minutes AJ Mitchell's a guy, I know his name
Jeez,
sometimes,
now you're
but
going real
they
deep.
They played him in the fourth quarter, though.
I
This
know.
was a close enough game, and they're still like, yeah, we can go with our third string point guard.
You're not wrong.
Weird.
Yeah.
You're
It's
not
amazing.
Yeah.
Think about how many teams are like, we can't play a rookie. He's not good enough. They're like, we're going to play this guy so he gets good enough.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's the difference with the Thunder. I watched the fourth quarter on the 2K broadcast.
Oh, how was that?
Didn't look like 2K. Who plays 2K on broadcast?
Oh.
Everybody goes from like the baseline angle where you can see the whole court. So that part was weird, but it looked like a game in that like when Luka's handling the ball, it says Doncic.
Okay.
He's got his little star by him. It has like the little turbo meter on the bottom too, which I don't know. Like I said, I only watched the fourth quarter, so the turbo meters were only at half full.
Right.
I don't know if they started completely green,
Weird.
but like Kyrie started hitting a couple of threes from the corner. Big green splashes go through the hoop.
Okay.
And it pops up like a little badge, like silver badge, sweet shooter. So, who knows?
Silver man.
But I think it's kind of tough. It was an interesting panel. It was Lefko. It was Vince Carter. It was Jalen Rose
Kurt
and
Kurt Goldsberry. Yeah,
They were
that's
calling him Solid Goldsberry. Jalen Rose absolutely loved it. It was funny to hear Lefko trying to get Vince Carter to talk about how good of a dunker Zach LaVine is.
And he
They were talking about best dunkers. That came up.
And he didn't want to?
Once Lefko mentioned that LaVine won the dunk contest twice, everyone's like, oh yeah, he is actually one of the best.
Oh, interesting.
I think it's a tough spot though, because obviously they're not doing this live in the arena.
Yeah.
So I think it's kind of hard to modulate the volume of your voice compared to the broadcast, because at times I feel like when they're doing these simulcasts from somewhere else, the guys are almost whispering.
Yeah.
Whereas when you're in the arena and it's like Brian Anderson and Stan Van Gundy calling it, like they can hear how loud the arena is and kind of match it. So at times I'm feeling like huge plays are happening and it's just whisper.
Yeah, you almost need to put those guys on the call like in a loud bar or something. Just have a bunch of people talking around them because it would just raise the volume of their voice.
Or just get a video game track behind you. I mean, just in your earbuds.
Sure,
It would help.
Okay, I'll have to check that out. But you didn't like the angle, or at least you should be able to pick your angle. That'd be really cool.
That would be cool.
That'd be slick.
That'd be cool.
All right, let's circle back to the NBA Cup a little bit later when we preview tonight's games. But let's get into the up-down report. Yeah.
Prepare your tubes. It's the Up-Down Report.
All right, into the up-down report. First one on Tuesday, ESPN's Shams Charania reported that the Miami Heat are, quote, open to listening to offers for Jimmy Butler and making a deal if the proposal is right. ESPN also reported that Jimmy is open to trades that would send him to the Warriors, the Rockets, or the Mavericks, and that he does not intend to pick up his player option of $52.4 million for next season. That's an interesting little wrinkle there. So the up or down question. TK, you got to start here. Up or down on the Heat listening to offers for Jimmy Butler?
I'm up.
Okay.
I think they have to.
Okay.
And the way it's described is pretty funny. They're open to listening to offers. This is December slop. We are going to take phone calls if people call us. But Jimmy Butler's 35 years old. Like you said, Skeets, he can be a free agent in the offseason if he wants to, and he'd probably be the biggest name available. Because like right now, scheduled to be the biggest name is Miles Turner. Jimmy Butler's better. Two finals, one conference finals appearance, and 2 first-round losses for the Heat since Butler has been there. So it's been very up and down, and it's because they're really a middle-of-the-pack team that's able to elevate in the playoffs. So I don't know how long that Pat Riley and the rest of the Heat brain trust can think, okay, we're going to keep getting hot in the playoffs, and the matchups are going to fall perfectly for us, because they didn't last year, right?
Yeah.
They have, and that looks awesome, and it like kind of colors the way you think about the Heat. Like, we can never count them out, and I agree with that. Part of that is Jimmy Butler, the way he's able to raise his game in the playoffs, but I don't think he's looked great this season. He's going to the free throw line nonstop. Like, that's something that's not going to go away. He's got the savvy, but the burst isn't quite the same. We know he doesn't really want to take three-pointers, so it's kind of just grifting to the free throw line. So I can understand why they would be looking to possibly trade him if the offer is right. I don't necessarily think that I would say it's even a 50% chance that Butler gets moved, just because the trade rules are very, very complicated
it is
now.
not easy.
And there are not a lot of teams that can do it, and some of the teams that can, you're like, okay, if you trade all the salary that equals Jimmy Butler, then you've got 5 players left on your team. So it's tough to figure out, but the Heat should be taking calls on Jimmy.
And then the element of Jimmy Butler basically saying, because I have the player option and I could test free agency, like, I want to go to these teams.
I'm a
so
rental.
make it these teams.
Yep.
Or I won't be signing long term. So that complicates things even more. But man, working the trade machine is tough with this. With these new, cap rules and second aprons, and it's a very difficult task to make it actually work. And obviously guys are 87% of the league on December 15th can be technically traded, so there's that part too. So this is not happening if it does for a couple days. But what do you think?
It is complicated with the new CBA, and that's why I think, from my perspective, third teams get involved and fourth teams get involved. But that's way too difficult for many people to figure out. So it is hard to imagine the number going back from, let's say, the Golden State Warriors, with Jonathan Kuminga as the primary part.
Right.
It ain't that much right now. He's barely making anything. I mean, he's making $7 million per year right now. So that's a drastic difference. So the number that you have to throw in there, if it's just the Heat and the Warriors, would be Andrew Wiggins' number.
That's to start, yeah.
Yeah, so that's 26, plus Kuminga. Now, I said bring up the Golden State Warriors.
Plus Kuminga, you're still like 15 million under.
You're still short.
So you got to like Melton.
Yeah.
I mean,
Then you're
it's
close.
tough. You got
Then you get close, but it is difficult. So I feel like the Warriors, I'm buying the juice because Draymond Green pushed this the other day when Jonathan Kuminga was pushed into the starting lineup for the first time in his career, as the next guy, as the guy to take over. And Draymond said, hey, I'm happy going to the bench. I'm a product of my vet being willing to take a backseat for me. So you got to give back what came to you. All right, so they gave us that. I was buying that slop. I said, okay, you guys are doing it. But is Jonathan Kuminga being showcased here for a couple
what Trey
months?
said.
Yeah, it sure feels like.
You can picture if a trade went down where Kuminga's the main piece for Jimmy Butler. 2 days later, Draymond Green on his podcast saying, "Oh yeah, I said all that, and we started Kuminga just to like build up his stock to go get Jimmy Butler." Like you can picture him saying it, playing chess while everybody else is playing checkers.
But they tried in the offseason. I mean, it goes back. They tried to get a third part. They tried to get Markkanen. They tried to get Paul George. So is Jimmy the guy to take over? He looks old. There's no doubt about that. But he is Jimmy Butler. And it just feels like it fits more with the pieces, with a fantastic big and Draymond Green and Steph than it does with the Mavs, really. I know the Mavs went to the finals, but it just doesn't feel the same way. Two ball handlers bringing in Jimmy Butler, although they would make it happen, but it ain't the same. Now, the Rockets getting a number one scorer makes sense. They need one, but he's old in comparison to what the Rockets are currently constructed of. So I'm buying the Warriors. Fit.
It makes the most sense.
Yeah.
And you can get there, I think, the easiest, despite him making nearly $49 million this season, Jimmy Butler. But yeah, you do have to send out Andrew Wiggins, his $26 million there. Now, I think last year we were like, that might be untradeable. That's not the case. I mean, Wiggins is like obviously sort of proven that he still has a little bit left, so maybe that's a player that would come back. I think Melton has to be included. Like you said, Kuminga's the main piece. I don't even think you can technically trade Moody. So it's Kuminga. But then you're going to need some players coming back. So can you get to, what do you think about this? Jimmy Butler, let's say Kevin Love, Josh Richardson for Wiggins, Melton, Kuminga.
What about
maybe Gary Payton II, and then potentially draft capital. The Warriors do have fully unprotected first-round picks, in 25 and 27. Like, are we there? Are the Heat looking at that going, what? No, we don't want that. What's your take on that?
I think it would require the Heat to think they can get the best out of Kuminga, and maybe they're the organization that can. Give him the ball, let him cook, and, get him into the culture system so that he gets bought in on defense, though he can be a decent defensive player. As we see, I think the Warriors should do it. Like, of these three teams, I'm 100% with you, Tess. The Rockets don't need to do it right now. They need to go OKC mode, make it to the playoffs once, see what you need, and then go from there. The Warriors the Mavs just doesn't make sense.
They don't have the contracts.
They don't have the contracts.
Because it's either Kyrie or Luka making $40 million plus. Yeah. You're not trading either one of them. And then the drop-off is to like $15 million $15 million contracts to like $10 million. Like we're talking Clay and Kleba and Gafford and stuff like that. Like, you're not going to put three of those guys together for Jimmy Butler, I wouldn't think.
I think it probably leaves their team too thin if they were to trade for Jimmy Butler. But I would like the fit of Jimmy playing alongside Luka and Kyrie. That'd be awesome. But I think the Warriors makes a ton of sense. Like, you would have to give up Wiggins, so you're getting an upgrade over Wiggins. Melton's out for the season. The Kuminga piece is questionable. Like, I think he's a good player. The Warriors are acting like they think he's a good player, but, you know, as they say on the Hoop Collective, actions over words. They didn't sign him to an extension when they had a chance. They need toughness outside of Draymond. They need somebody else who can score. Jimmy can do that. They would be a very, very old team with like 3 30-year-old guys leading the way, 30-and-a-half-year-old guys. But if they're trying to give Steph Curry a chance to win another championship with the Warriors, he needs an upgrade as a second guy, and Jimmy would be an awesome fit next to Steph as well.
I thought it was of note that in Sham's article, it said, quote, rival executives are surely keeping an eye on Kuminga's play as he's set to be a restricted free agent in July. In his career, Kuminga has played 30 minutes or more in 41 games, averaging 20 points, 54% from the field, and 40% from three. He has played 30 minutes or more in 2 of the past 3 games. Like, this is the whole showcase and spotlight we're talking about. And Shams is including that. Like, let me break down the numbers when this guy plays heavy minutes. I think that's a little telling, personally. But
Riley's looking at those numbers. 40% 3-point shooter.
Ooh, hello.
Yeah,
Good.
this guy's given a starting role. This guy's lights out.
Yeah,
and he might be. I mean, he's got a lot of talent.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And trading Jimmy would also showcase Tyler Hero into a new role. I know it's reaching a little bit here, but Tyler Hero's looked damn good the last couple months, and that has not happened for a while in Tyler Hero's career. So there's that. I mean, I'm just a little inclined to say the Miami Heat and Pat Riley just want to keep Jimmy Butler because he's Jimmy Butler and because they're focused on keeping the guys that win in their locker room. That being said, there's a day when you will get the most for Jimmy Butler, and that day is now because he's 35 plus. And he looks older. So if there's a time, it is now. And obviously Jimmy is saying, hey, other team, I'm not going to take that $50 million player option, according to Sham's report. So that bodes well because I know he's not signed, but he's basically saying, trade him to a good team. These are the good teams, Golden State, Dallas, and Houston. And I will sign longer than that. So I mean, he's setting himself up for leaving, but it just feels weird. It does feel odd that Pat Riley would do that.
And just to go back to the Houston, even though I'm with you, I think they should slow play this. I mean, I don't think they should go overboard, even though they could get them, because they have the contracts, they have the players, they have like young prospects that are almost way down on their pecking order that you could like be it Cam Whitmore, They seem to love Tari Eason. There's Jabari Smith Jr. Like you could take sort of your pick. I think they'd be willing to, but. I guess they have some pick swaps as well, so there's draft capital, but I don't think they should. The Warriors make the most sense for Jimmy. Whether or not the Heat like the return and believe in Kuminga enough is really all we're getting at here. And then just to make the numbers work again, it's really dicey. It's not
really
easy.
Dyson Daniels out there.
It
Apparently,
really is.
Windhorse said today on Get Up that the Warriors are targeting Jimmy and LeBron James.
LeBron James! Whoa. I'm not ready for that.
Well, I watched the Olympics. I'm ready for LeBron.
Okay,
And stuff.
all right, let's go.
That was cool.
And I will say just about the Warriors, it feels like if they're trading for Jimmy that they're basically getting really old and putting 5 years of stock into these guys, and they're not going to, how long can they win? So that I think the people who will criticize it will say it that way. But they're only paying Steph, right now, Wiggins and Draymond Green for another 2 years after this one. It's not forever. Steph is still going to be that good 2 years from now. Jimmy can last that long. So it feels longer. Feels like Steph's signed until, I don't know, 2045 or whatever, but he's not.
All right, let's move on to our next one here in the Up Down Report. The NBA is promoting its slate of games on Christmas Day by remixing a classic commercial, Jingle Hoops, from over a decade ago. So let's just play this thing. Here it is.
Tune it up, KD.
Let's run it back.
Think we still got it?
Give me that. I got you. Let's go! Down the chimney.
Now that's the spirit.
I'm ready. Please tell me the camera was on.
All right, there it is. Guys, are you up or down on the NBA revisiting Jingle Hoops? That commercial with the players now as toys.
A huge up for me.
Huge up.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it's better. Number one.
Better than the original?
Yeah, I like it more.
Whoa.
I feel like I'm in the kids' shopping store. I'm ready to buy all these things. I see Anthony Edwards dancing on a xylophone. I see a better range of players. And I like how they're, number one, I like the let's go. All kids love that. LeBron's doing that. I like how they're pushing Anthony Edwards to be the next face of this league as he throws it down between his legs and throws it down there. I like, while they are pushing him, he's sharing that last camera shot with Victor Wembanyama. The smart stuff. I mean, who's the next guy? It's either him or him. And I like how Durant, he shoots first, but then he's on a rope, so I think he's preventing injury by not jumping on his legs.
Well, he barreled into everybody on that rope.
He did.
Yeah.
Anyways, I like it. It felt good.
Okay. Up or down?
I'm up.
All right.
It's Gladiator 2 to me. Not as good as the original.
No.
Too much CGI. But I still like it.
Spot on, man. Well said.
Yeah. Luckily, they weren't fighting a lot of animals in this one. But, yeah, I mean, who's not going to like this? If you saw the original, you're like, this is cool. I thought the first one was better, them doing it live. I mean, obviously, they're faking it, but still, like, they're there.
Yeah,
That's cool.
The original one, for those that don't know, I mean, you should go look at it. It's from 2013. It's KD, it's Harden, it's Rose, it's Nash, and it's Steph Curry making shots into baskets that are tuned with the bells there to reprise the song Jingle Bells. And then there's the LeBron James dunk at the end off a Nash pass, I believe. And then, similar to this one, he also says please tell me the camera was on. So there's some similarities too that they pulled. It's not as good as the original. This one's for the kids. My God, all these broadcasts we're doing for children, be it Simpsons and Toy Stories and what else do we have coming in the NBA?
They just did 2K last night.
2K, but there's something else I thought coming. Oh, it's the
Mickey Mouse.
Mickey Mouse,
on Christmas.
Yeah, Pluto on the block, going nuts. So it's designed for that, but it's fine. It's just not as good as the original.
I agree. It was all MVPs in the original.
Apparently, the NBA says the original was the league's most viewed commercial ever and most watched video on its YouTube channel.
It's got a ton of views. I watched it again this morning.
It's got like 41 million views. Yeah, crazy.
I did laugh at Tyrese Maxey being the Sixers representative. You cannot put Embiid in there.
No.
Like, who knows how long that took to make? They're like, we're not going to ruin our work, not knowing if this guy's actually going to play the game. Maxey should be there.
Maxey looked the craziest, though.
Definitely.
His toy was like,
Yes.
Did love the little Easter egg, I guess, if you want to call it that, of Jokic in the sled with the reindeer. Yeah. Did like that little touch.
And Luka, and Steph doing the Home Alone thing.
Yeah.
Lots of good stuff. Everything is AI, man. Everything is AI.
Okay, final one here. In building its NBA broadcasting franchise for next season, NBC is making some moves here. So NBC secured a deal with Jamal Crawford. Sources told The Athletic's Andrew Marchand on Tuesday. The contracts aren't signed yet, nor is Crawford's exact place on NBC's depth chart fully defined, but he is expected to call games. And NBC also showing some interest in TNT's lead analyst, Reggie Miller, for its game broadcast. So up or down on NBC landing Jamal Crawford here to call games and maybe showing some interest in Reggie Miller?
Sounds like anything TNT can do, Peacock can do better? Let's go in Reggie Miller mode. You didn't appreciate that? Jeez. I like Jamal Crawford on the broadcast or in the studio, so it kind of makes sense to me that Peacock would be like, yeah, we'll sign you and figure out exactly what you're going to be doing. Seems like they're putting together a decent little team here. Mike Tirico's going to be their number one play-by-play guy. Noah Eagle also getting a taste. He was awesome during the Olympics alongside Dwayne Wade, who I hope is with Peacock as well on some of these NBA broadcasts, whether he be a studio guy or color commentator as well. But yeah, cool.
Yeah, they have a lot, in theory, broadcast to build here, Tess. Like, they have a lot of games, a lot of spots they're going to be putting these games. We're going to have these Peacock games, obviously then the major games on the NBC broadcast network later on after football and all that. So it makes sense that they're going to have a couple of guys in their roster.
A lot of depth. They start getting those big ones after football, but they start the season with a Monday, Tuesday. Not every single game Monday, Tuesday, but they own those days in terms of Peacock and NBC broadcasts. So, yeah, they got to get depth. I do find it funny that they say, Jamal Crawford, you're signed. We don't know the depth chart.
Yeah, we don't know where. We don't know.
We don't know. I also find it funny listening to Reggie Miller on TNT and then seeing this report. It's like an assistant coach being interviewed for a head coach position, but he's still an assistant coach in the playoffs for that team. You know, like, we don't know. We don't know.
Yeah.
But, yeah, there's a lot of games, period.
Do you like Jamal Crawford on the call? Like in his limited role that we've seen him do games?
I think I do.
Yeah,
I don't remember if I've heard him this year. Maybe. I'm sure I have, but it doesn't stick out necessarily. But he's a super well-prepared guy. He was always known in NBA circles as knowing every other NBA player's contract.
Oh, interesting. He's counting everybody's money, is he?
Good businessman.
It's true. Yep. It's true. Well, he's also notoriously the guy that films every pickup run.
That's exactly right.
He's ever played in.
Yeah.
He goes and crunches the tape. He has tape on you.
He's got tape on me. He's got a son who's apparently an incredible basketball player as well. Looks like he plays exactly the same as Jamal Crawford did. So then I flash back to his NBA career when he said he never practiced. He said he never worked on dribbling moves. And then he's like the best prepared analyst. He's videotaping all of his pickup runs after being retired. I think he was fooling us.
Yeah. Mike or Noah Eagle. I call him Mike Eagle.
Mike Tirico.
Mike Eagle, great rapper, man.
Yeah.
I didn't know you were down with that.
Yeah, for sure. One of those guys will ask him. I think Noah Eagle will be comfortable asking him, hey, did you practice?
Yeah, good.
Yeah, so they're doing extremely well on that side. I want to mention Tirico, not Mike Eagle, and Noah Eagle. They're very solid. What is it? So the depth chart is Tirico 1, Noah Eagle 2?
Yeah.
Yeah. From what we know
Tirico's
right now.
been there forever. Obviously, he's the Olympics master.
Yeah,
And football. He's
And
just
football.
the number one guy.
That guy
their
does
guy.
everything. That guy loves all the sports. He's the real Rod Black here in America.
Not really.
That's true. All right, I like Jamal
Italian.
Crawford. My favorite thing about Jamal Crawford, he actually likes basketball, and it comes across on the
definitely
broadcast.
does, yes.
And you know what? For as much fun as we make fun of Reggie Miller at times, Reggie does too. He legit loves hoops.
For sure.
He's a hoop
He
sicko.
sure does.
And that's good. That's a good quality, I think, to have on your broadcast call. So we'll see who else they add to the team. Okay, let's quickly look at tonight's NBA Cup quarterfinal games. First one, we've got Hawks-Knicks. What's something you're watching for in this game at 7 o'clock? And we will be on playback. What do you think?
Yes. Madison Square Garden hosting a quarterfinals game here. I'm excited for it. I am drinking the NBA Cup Kool-Aid because it feels like the quarterfinals games mean more. I like the fact that we are getting just these 2 games on one night and everybody can watch them.
Yeah.
And it has felt like playoff type games. Now I bring up Knicks and MSG because the NBA quarterfinal home teams are now 5-1.
Wow.
It means something, especially with this Knicks team that did lose to the Hawks a few weeks ago in their only game that they played this season. They got to be a little angry, a little feisty about that. But at the same time, Trae Young and MSG for a bigger game. I'm buying that as well. At the same time, Trae doesn't look like his lower extremities are feeling all that right. He is a little banged up, but he's fighting through it and he's playing through it. And it's going to be tough for all these young guys that they have, that Trae's thrown it out to show up in Madison Square Garden, but I have faith in them.
Yeah, it was a weird first game between these two teams this season because the Hawks beat the Knicks 121-116. That was the game that Ricochet went for 33 points.
Oh, yeah.
Like he was on fire. But then the Knicks hit 1,000,000 threes in that game despite losing. They hit 22 3-pointers. So a little weird. I'm excited to see how they play Cat, who's on a heater right now. He's a matchup nightmare for a lot of teams, but I think especially the Hawks. Like, he's too fast for Capella. And then, like, if Jalen Johnson, if he plays, and Levin Onyeka, like, he's sort of just too big. He's a big-ass dude, Cat is, for those guys. So it's a tough matchup, and the way him and Brunson are cooking right now, that'll be fun. Can they slow him? Can they slow this Knicks team that's the number 1 in the league, TK?
Yeah, we shall see. Maybe they, like, even dust off Larry Nance Jr. to be their small ball 5. Though Okongwu's, like, he's a medium ball, I think.
Yeah.
He's not a great small ball 5, but he's better than Capella when they're trying that. I'm interested to see if the Hawks bench can win them this game. The Knicks definitely have an advantage in the starting lineup, but they're really only a 6-deep team. Only Deuce McBride gets 20 or more minutes off the bench for them. He plays 25. After that, it's like Precious Achiuwa just came back.
Yep.
He hasn't really gotten in a rhythm. Cam Payne gets minutes for this team, and he's one of the ultimate dice roll players in the league. He's taking the same shots no matter what. Sometimes they go in. We'll see if that happens. Meanwhile, the Hawks are the 3rd best scoring bench in the league. Hunter, Okongwu, and Bogey all played 25 minutes per game off the bench, so that could be an advantage for Atlanta, or Tom Thibodeau could play all the starters 45 minutes. It could easily happen.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have another game until what? Saturday?
Yeah.
That's a lot of rest.
Yeah, and they did have to play Monday, one of the few teams that played.
true.
They only had 1 day of rest, but yeah, the scheduling is good for teams getting rest before the NBA Cup.
And they had to go through customs. Playing up in Toronto.
Wow, yeah, that's tough. That is tough.
I wonder what Tibbs is like through customs.
Nothing to declare. Just game film.
Sir, you can't bring that much game film across the border.
Did you bring anything with you?
declare that.
Game film. And a big cat.
Yes, that's right. Oh, yeah, right. Not easy to take pets across the border. We are on playback tonight. Again, just a reminder, around 7 p.m. Eastern for Hawks-Knicks. Yeah, you know the MSG crowd is going to be hyped with the villain Trae Young in their building. And I thought, like, Milwaukee was in a tough spot last night with their crowd. That game started at like 6 o'clock local time. So it was a late arriving crowd. I can't even blame them, but it was pretty hyped at the end in that close game. And then the Thunder crowd is always good. So hopefully that continues here in these games that do feel like they mean a little bit more. The second game tonight, juicy. Warriors, Rockets. What's one thing you're watching for, TK?
Well, I don't know, actually, because when I wrote it down, I was like, the Warriors need a second scorer tonight, and then I went into the games between the Rockets and the Warriors have beat the Rockets twice without Steph Curry.
Yeah, weird. And they beat them in a blowout, a high-scoring affair one game, and then like a dog
closey.
Yeah.
Yeah, weird stuff. In the first win, it was an overtime win for Golden State. Buddy Hield hit 6 threes, scored 27 points. Kuminga went for 23. Then the second Golden State win was that huge Kuminga game when he got the start, scored 33. So I'm kind of looking at Jonathan Kuminga to carry for the Warriors alongside Steph Curry, who I assume is going to be playing and going to be playing well in this one. It might just come down to being a 3-point advantage game. The Rockets are bottom 10 in the league in 3-point shooting. The Warriors are top 10 in the league in 3-point shooting from a makes perspective. So the Rockets are going to have to hit. It's going to have to be a game where they're hitting, 14 threes, shooting a decent percentage. They can't have like a 6 for 30 kind of night.
Yeah, and I think their depth, as you brought up the Hawks depth, the Rockets depth is just damn good as well. To be able to take away those Warriors threes should be there. I mean, they are a good defensive bunch. And will they be hungry enough? After those 2 wins, Golden State's beat them 2 straight games in Houston, where, as I said, the quarterfinals teams are just good at home. So that part of it is the hunger level for Ime Udoka's push for this team. As he said after, I didn't see this quote until I started looking up stats and info for this game. He said about Alperen Şengün, my biggest thing with him, I say to him, get the European out of your game and play through stuff. Stop crying. And he kind of laughed as he said that, but he told reporters that. It's an interesting line. Get that European out of your game. That dude plays tough. And I wonder, I bring up Şengün because he was initially on the injury report.
I think he's still questionable, isn't he?
Yeah, that's what it said.
Yeah.
But I assume he's playing. And Steve Kerr said that Moses Moody is the only guy out today, and Andrew Wiggins will be back. He didn't play in the last game. So I am curious how they do start. Kuminga was supposed to start beside Andrew Wiggins and Draymond Green coming off the bench, which is not what happened in their last game because Wiggins was hurt. So do they go back to Green coming off the bench? And the Green fighting versus whoever's on the Houston Rockets thing could come up.
Well, Green's going to be on Şengün a lot, I assume, in this game. Yeah. Well, he matched up on him, and I like to see Dylan Brooks try and get under the skin of Steph Curry if possible. Those are going to be fun little one-on-one matchups to watch. Yeah. Whether your best defensive player can shut down the best offensive player on the other side.
And Dre played it pretty cool with Rudy Gobert in the last game, who, even though he poked him in the eye, I mean, he didn't fight him.
No, he didn't fight him. Didn't put him in a chokehold. That was nice.
Exactly.
Good first step. So went from a chokehold to just poking him in the eye.
And then he went to sleep at the end. What does he do here against the Houston Rockets? Yes, he'll guard Şengün, but there'll be other, as you said, Dylan Brooks, feisty guys. Amen Thompson. I don't know if Tari Eason plays. He was on the injury report as well. I mean, there's a lot of dudes.
Yeah. All right. Well, that is our game tonight in the pick'em because it's a close line task between the Warriors and Rockets.
Yeah, the Rockets favored just by 1.5 at home. So you're just picking a winner.
Basically.
And it's interesting. We have 2 people picking the Houston Rockets, 2 people picking the Golden State Warriors. Esh and Skeets taking Golden State, Trey and myself taking Houston. Esh at a pitiful 1-6 through the first 7 games of this month, and we are going into January with the bet on December here being you're probably gonna have to do a show outdoors
for the week
For an entire week? Wow, I didn't
Yeah.
realize that was happening.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Got to sleep out there and everything.
Yep.
Wow. The
Yep.
technology will be working from beyond the doors, beyond the garage. It'll be fun. It'll be fun, Ash, to be outside for a week.
Oh, you're saying it right
Well,
now?
I'm just saying.
I mean,
He hit him
2
with
games
a
behind.
pitiful record.
Yeah.
Pitiful 1-6.
Sass is 2 games clear of him. That's ballsy. I respect it,
We
man.
gotta talk trash. No, I definitely don't feel entirely great about taking the Houston Rockets here against the Golden State Warriors. The Warriors played an incredible game against the Timberwolves, but again,
Yeah.
they have beat Houston twice, and this team fights. This Rockets team is, somewhat like the Orlando Magic yesterday. They will play defense no matter what.
And I don't feel great picking with Esh. I did it last night. What am I doing? I was cooking in this month, but I took the Mavericks with them, and we lost last night. And now I'm with them here with the Warriors.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I'm banking on the Warriors just having the Rockets number. They
might.
In the regular season. They might.
Yeah,
But
and I wonder if Şengün is feeling comfortable playing, because I put up this line here in our Google Doc that we share. I put it in and I said, the Rockets are going to take it. They can't lose 3 games to the Warriors. Then I saw Ash jump in with the Warriors pick, so after I saw the Şengün, I was like, maybe I go back, but I couldn't. I couldn't change it on Ash.
No.
That felt dirty because he is 2 games behind me. In a slightly shorter month, there are days
yeah,
we
that's
take
right.
off.
Yes.
That's right.
Good luck, Ash.
I guess. Oh wow, are we going to be doing pick 'em for the Cup games in Vegas? I hadn't thought about that.
Does game 83 count for the pickup?
Oh, gee. Oh, no, don't say that. Don't say that. All right, we'll find out. So we're
gotta go
split
to-
on tonight's games.
We got to go into a sports book.
Oh, yeah. Put some real coin
Oh,
on
dude,
it.
pick them from a sports book. I love that, actually. Yeah.
Damn. All right, just to remind you, we are on playback tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern for that first game, Hawks and Knicks. So hope to see you there. That link is in the show notes. Had a blast last night, so come hang out with us. Maybe we're a second screen experience for you people here in America. We did slip some people some VIP passes last night, so they could watch along with us, but international people usually have it pretty good if you've got League Pass. So we're going to have some fun there tonight. We're back tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern, to break down these 2 final quarterfinal games tonight, and a whole lot more. Hope to see you then. Clipper Bros.
You heard it here first. Have a great time. Turn up. Love you guys. Awesome.
Thanks for joining us. And remember, if you join us on playback, you may get a VIP pass, or I may screw up again as I did yesterday, trying to slip someone a VIP pass, but I slipped them a join us on stage click. So, you could get one of those.
Bring your thoughts. Bring your takes in tonight's broadcast. All right, brace the day, people.